Action! Hello.
Hey there, Matt Koger with American Income Life Insurance.
Oh yeah, how you doing, Matt?
How's it going? Yeah, we spoke about the no-cost benefits and the Child Safe ID kits endorsed through the International Union of Police Associations.
Oh yeah. Hey Matt, how long is this gonna take, man?
Actually, it doesn't take long at all. They've got me seeing somebody every hour on the hour. So for me, quicker the better. It's actually quicker if we sit down at your kitchen table. Do you mind if we sit there?
Perfect. Okay.
Excellent. Do you want me to take my shoes off?
Oh no, man, you go leave them on.
Okay. Is Mary home?
Yeah, she's here.
Perfect. All right.
Mary!
Okay. Well, like I said, they've got me running around like crazy, so I'm sure it's okay with you, but I'm going to go ahead and do the quick version here. Anyways, while I get set up, you guys originally from the area?
Oh well, man, I'm originally from Ohio, man.
How's that right?
Yeah, been down here for about 6 months or so. Get settled into my new career.
That's awesome. What kind of work are you doing now?
I'm in the auto trade business.
Very cool. And what about Mary? What is she doing these days?
Mary, she stay home, take care of the kids. I got the most important job.
Yeah, ain't that right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys know the neighbors pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's, pretty cool. I guess when they been all right, man. They got some loud parties across the street, man.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Any kids in the neighborhood?
The kids,
Kids finding friends?
my son, he play with some little dude up the street, man. Yeah, little roughneck dude, man.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, and where are you working these days?
These days, like I said, so I'm like an independent auto trailer,
Oh,
man.
are you doing your own thing?
Yeah, man. So you tell me what you need and I find it, man.
That's awesome.
You need a Hellcat. You need a Demon.
Yeah. I've been thinking about
you
it.
let me know, man, and I make it happen for those guys, man.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you exactly what my job is. So, first, I'm going to deliver your no-cost benefits and your Child Safe ID kits. Then I'm going to go over some additional benefits that you're entitled to if you qualify. It is a two-part program. So the first part is going to protect the kids should something happen to them. And the second part of the program is actually going to protect the kids should something happen to you. My company, American Income, we work with over 20,000 different unions, credit unions, and associations handling their additional benefits. And because of our relationship with them, we actually you'll have exclusive access to benefits that only groups like firefighters, police officers, and other union members have had access to for a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've actually got a video I'm going to show you, but before we get there, let me get some basic info. What's your last name, Joe?
James.
All right, James. Joe James. Double first name. What's your date of birth?
December 5th, 1989.
Alrighty.
Do you need some water or something?
Some water would be great.
All right, let me go get you a glass of water real quick.
Yeah, you got me talking like a dog.
All right, here you go, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Cool. So,
Congratulations! American Income Life is proud to deliver your valuable benefit package, including the Child Safe kits you requested.
awesome.
American Income Life is a member of
At AIL, giving
So like I
back
said,
is
we're going
our
to do the quick version, so I'm going to skip through all these other videos. Now, this here is the Child Safe ID kit. I'm sure you know families with kids, right?
Yeah, my niece. I got some nieces and some nephews, man. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and actually this kit provided by American Income is one of the most comprehensive on the market. So this actually gives police officers exactly what they need to find a missing child. Now, you can only get one of these from a visit by somebody like myself, and I've actually got one of these for each of your two kids.
Okay, perfect.
So this is actually really easy. There's only 5 parts that you got to worry about. So, and they're actually labeled. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So I'll leave these here for you. we'll make sure we get the kids squared away because, you know, every time you turn on the news, you hear about human trafficking or, you know, kids getting abducted or, you know, sometimes kids just run away from home. And, you know, I'm sure if anything happened to one of the kids that you know, you'd want their parents to have a kid like this, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. Well, as the endorsed company by the International Union of Police Associations, we can actually get this kid out to up to 10 families that you know that have children. Who's the first family you'd want to get this out to?
Like I say, I got nieces and nephews, so I probably want to get it out to them first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we start with my brother, man. He got 3 kids.
Mm-hmm. And what's his name?
Jamar
James
Johnson.
Johnson. All right. Telephone number.
686-589-2384.
Okay. And what city is he in?
He's here. He's here in Austin.
Awesome. Okay. And this is, you said it's your brother, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, who's next?
My sister,
Mm-hmm.
Jalen J.
All right. Also in Austin?
Yep.
Good telephone?
787-583-234-567-23.
All right, who's next?
Joe, my neighbor.
All right, neighbors, Joe.
We got the little kids over there.
Yeah, we gotta get all the little boys hanging out with your boys. Gotta get them squared away too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, his last name?
McCurdy.
McCurdy, cool. And his telephone?
787-583-278-345-67.
And obviously he's in town. All right. And who's next?
My sister. We already got her. We'll
Mhm.
do. Oh, Mary, we'll do your brother.
And what's his name?
Punk ass Steve. I'm just joking, man. His name's Steve.
In-laws, yeah, I get it. I got a few of those myself. So Steve, what's Steve's last name?
McCurdy.
McCurdy. And his telephone?
687-453-2785.
Got it. All right, and he's here in town as well.
Yeah.
Great. And who's next?
Yeah, that's really it with the small kids.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that. We'll make sure they get taken care of. So the next no-cost benefit is actually your health services discount card,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is pretty cool. You know, because group benefits can change or be taken away. This will actually give you a up to 60% discount on things like, you know, eye services, prescription drugs, hearing aids, and even chiropractic services. All the enrollment information that you need is actually inside this. And so if you open this up, you'll see that there's a, you know, 1-800 number right here and a website right here, and they'll answer any questions you might have about this. So I'll leave this here for you, kind of make you a pile there, and you can take a look at that after I'm gone.
All right. Perfect.
And then the next benefit is actually an accidental death and dismemberment benefit. And so this guy here is gonna, for Joe, for you, this is gonna give you a, it's kind of a living benefit. And so if you ever lose a limb, like a foot or a hand or a sight in one eye, it'll pay you $1,000, and it'll pay twice that amount, $2,000 for the loss of any two. And Mary, for you, this is actually a death benefit. So if Joe here were to die accidentally, this is actually going to pay you $2,000. You know, and I get it, $2,000 is not like the most money in the world, but I'm sure you can see how at that time that would be, you know, really important to have.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe, I just need you to sign here and list Mary as a beneficiary, and then Mary, I need you to sign here acknowledging that you are the beneficiary and that Joe has the benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing we need to do is get a couple of emergency contacts, because if you guys were to die in a common accident, we want to have somebody to reach out to. So it'd be wise if they were local, over the age of 18, and not living in this household. So we want to write that down here and here. And so who are those emergency contacts?
Probably my brother and sisters. They'll be down there. You know.
Okay, and it looks like I've already got them here. All right, so we'll just get them written down here, and perfect. I'll take that. Now, Joe, I could really use your help. You think you can help me with something?
Man, what you need, man?
Well, American Income, they actually give me 10 of these insurance certificates to share with people that you introduced me to. So I'm just asking for an introduction. This actually won't cost you or them anything. In worst case, they get some free insurance and you really help me out. Who's the first person you can think of? Let's try to get this out to at least 3 people.
Do my brother and them get that too already?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we'll get them to the Child Safe and we'll get them these.
I'll give you the homies down at work, Steve, John, Clayton, Ray, Matt,
Steve,
Tony.
Tony. Who else?
My dude for Shizzo.
For Shizzo.
Yeah, man, funny cat down at the job spot, man. They got like 18 kids over there. Man.
I'm gonna guess how to spell that.
Yeah, for Shizzo. I don't even know his real name. I don't say. For Shizzo, just tell him, man, hey, your boy Jamel from down at the work plant.
That's cool.
You know.
And okay, I've got for Shizzle down. Who else do you want to get on here?
Like I say, Jake, Steve, Tom, all of those guys, man.
I got those guys. Perfect. Anybody else you can think of?
Well, that's really it.
All right, cool.
Due to the value over
Yeah, I gotta do some of this. Let's get this.
Since birth,
All
you've
right.
spent each day preparing.
So the reason that this is a 2-part program is that we found that a lot of families have some serious gaps in their basically they just have some serious gaps in their coverage. So it's serious enough to send me out here to discuss and go over these with you. Now these are the concerns that most families have. So the first one is going to be funeral and final expenses. So, many families don't have $14,000 for, final expenses. Funeral income usually, or funeral homes usually want their money right away, right? Mm-hmm. So paycheck loss. So when a member dies, the paycheck usually dies with them. So mortgages, families may lose their home after the sudden loss of a breadwinner. Children's protection, so benefits provided through a job typically aren't permanent, and for children, this can create a huge risk. An unexpected death could jeopardize the future educational opportunities of our children. So co-pays, deductibles, and lost wages. Health insurance pays the doctors, but members lose wages from time off work and all those extra expenses. So losses in pension and retirement accounts. So unexpected situations can create dramatic pension reductions. Terminal illnesses, especially cancer. So according to the American Cancer Society, men have a 1 in 2 chance of either being diagnosed or dying from cancer, and women actually have a 1 in 3 chance. Medical expenses right now are actually the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. And then the last concern is affordability. We sit down with people making $7 an hour. We sit down with people making $47 an hour. Some people are getting tons of overtime. Some people get laid off. They made this program to be affordable for everybody. So, Joe, let's say you went into work tomorrow and, your boss says, hey man, things are going great. So we're actually going to pay you for 41 hours instead of 40 hours, basically give an extra hour a week. Now with that extra hour a week, are you guys going to make, a down payment on your dream home? Are you going to go buy matching Ferraris? Probably not, right? Now on the flip side, let's say, you're going to work tomorrow and your boss says things are kind of slow. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to send you home an hour early on Friday, right? And, so that loss of an hour, you're making 39 instead of 40. Is that going to take food off the table?
No.
Right. You're going to have to, the kids, are they going to be able to go to dentist appointments?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So 1 hour, one way or the other, really doesn't change anything, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Fuck, I'm stuck.
The last guy went over the needs analysis at this time.
The needs analysis. So the final benefit is actually the needs analysis, right? So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and if there's no need, it actually won't make a recommendation. If there is a need, I'll go over, or if there is a recommendation, I'll go over it with you. So let's start with your spouse's name.
Mary. Same last name.
And what are the kids' names?
Steve Jr. and Bobby Ray.
Okay. And then those are also your children, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Don't ask me why his name is Steve Jr.
It's okay. All right, so I've got Bobby Ray and Steve Jr. And so it's James. All right, and it was just the two sons, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple of questions here. Any internal cancer in the last 2 years?
No.
Breast colon? No. Insulin or diabetes?
Nope.
Okay. Cardiovascular diseases like heart attack, stroke?
Nope.
Okay.
Perfectly healthy.
Perfect. So you're not on any oxygen, no terminal illness, Alzheimer's, no
No.
tobacco in the last 12 months?
No.
No. Okay. Are either of you currently on parole?
No, we ain't that interested, man.
Boring. That's good. We like boring. So, then I assume no arrests or convictions of DUI?
No.
All right, and then you mentioned that you make about $3,000 a month, and then what about Mary?
She's a stay at home.
Okay,
Hold down the fort.
alrighty. And then the home that we're in, do you guys have a mortgage, or are you renting this home?
There's an open mortgage. We owe 160,
Okay. And about how many years do you guys have left on it?
20.
Okay. And last question I have for now, do you guys use like a credit union or just like a traditional bank?
Credit union. We got both, but
Okay.
we do different things out of each one. So we got both. So we pay.
Makes sense. All right, so before I go over the concerns, there is this mandatory read-off letter here. However, instead of just reading this whole thing, if it's okay with you, I'll just summarize it.
Right.
Great. So basically what this is saying is that, as if I'm going through these benefits, you're thinking to yourself like, man, these are some great benefits. And I can see why everyone's doing this. Then I'm going to ask that you go ahead and apply today. while I'm here. Now, on the flip side, if I'm going through all these benefits and you're thinking to yourself, like, wow, these are some great benefits, I can see why everyone's doing this, but it really doesn't make sense for me and my family at this time, they're going to ask that you actually don't apply today, okay? But either way, yes or no, they do ask that you make that decision today during your enrollment period, just in fairness to all the people waiting in line. They set this up to be a no-brainer. So at the end, it's going to be a really simple yes or no. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So
The warmth of
the
family.
first concern, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over your options using an illustration. So let's say tomorrow you go to work and a new job opens up,
Mm-hmm.
right? We'll say your current job is job A and you're making $1,050 a week. And say job B, the one that just opened up, has all the same group benefits, same employees, same workers. Basically, everything's the same. The only difference is with job B, you're making $1,020 a week, right? So basically, an hour's difference. But that 1 hour is going to take care of all your concerns. The first concern is funeral and following expenses. So there's a 100% chance that everyone's going to need that. And I've actually got a short video here that's going to explain how that works. So. Restart.
The warmth of
There we go.
family is one of the most beautiful and valued things
Oh,
in
it's
life.
nice. This is a
For
great
this
video.
reason,
Yeah, and it's actually the last one we have to watch, so
Okay.
that's good, right? All right. So, American Income is actually giving
Your
you guys
paycheck is
$15,000 for this concern. All right, and they give you a freedom of choice, so you get $15,000 for this concern. You get a freedom of choice certificate. And this is actually funded by whole life insurance. That way it's there for you when, not if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about the freedom of choice is that you take this into a funeral home, they're not going to know how much your policy is worth. Because obviously you walk a $15,000 policy into a funeral home, how much do you think your funeral is going to cost?
16,000.
Exactly. They're going to try to bleed you dry. This is one of the most emotional things that we have to do, second to like a marriage. Getting married is a big one too. But anyways, we got $15,000 for each of you. And with the current job, you actually don't have this. Okay. So let's see.
everyone dreams of
Lots of videos. All right, so the next concern for most people is their income. So Mary, if Joe were to die tomorrow, you'd miss him, for sure. But after a few weeks, you'd be missing his income too. All right, and so we're going to give you, American Income's going to give you $180,000 worth of income protection if Joe were to die. So this is going to give you $3,000, you and the kids, $3,000 a month for 60 months. And then Joe, for you, this would give you $1,500 for 36 months. Now, the next thing people generally want taken care of is going to be their mortgage, right? So you mentioned that you still have an open mortgage. Now, usually if somebody's going to die during their working years, it's going to be due to an accident. So this mortgage payoff, it's going to give you $100,000 to pay off the mortgage if you were to die in an accident, because typically if you are going to die in your working years, it's due to an accident. We've also taken into account children's education. Most people want their kids' education secured for the future. So we're going to give you $100,000 for that as well, or $50,000 rather, not $50,000 for each of the kids,
Okay,
right?
nice.
Make sure they can go to school. And then, with your current job, obviously, you don't have any of these. Now, if you were to be, injured or have to go to a hospital, there's a lot of expenses that go along with that. So we actually protect you there too. Anytime that you have to go to a doctor due to a bump, bruise, or a bee sting, we're going to pay you $100. If you have to stay overnight, we're going to pay you $200. And if you were in the ER or intensive care, you get $400 per night. Now, with your current job, all you're going to get is bills and loss of income. However, with this, if you were in the hospital for a week, it'd pay $1,000. I'm sure you can see how that'd be beneficial, right?
Hell yeah.
Exactly. Now, this is also going to give you a $10,000 accidental policy. Basically, if you were to lose, a limb or a hand or loss in an eye, it's going to pay you $10,000, or twice that amount, $20,000 for any two. Along with the children's education, they also get a $10,000 whole life policy that's set up for them, as long as they're under 18 and they can qualify. And then as soon as they turn 21, you can actually convert that whole life into 5 times that amount, up to $50,000. So the next thing people generally want to protect is their loss of Social Security or pensions. So basically any of those types of retirement accounts. And so if either of you were to die during, due to an accident, this is going to pay you anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 to your beneficiary or your children. This also has a terminal illness benefit. And so the way this works is that if you were to be diagnosed with a terminally, like something like cancer or something like that, you actually get to access half of your freedom of choice and your income protection. And so, Joe, for you, this would give you $97,500, and for Mary, it's $34,500. So, all these concerns are protected now. American Income has been around for 70 years. We have an A+ financial rating. Unlike your group benefits that can be taken away, these are permanent and portable. We've actually got a layoff waiver. So if you're in a qualified layoff, we'll actually pay your premium for 3 months. And then there's a strike waiver as well. So if you're in a qualified strike, they'll pay your premium for up to 12 months. Okay. Now, if you were to go into job tomorrow or to work, and you had an option between job A and job B, which job do you think you would take?
Job B.
Job B. Now, with job A, you get paid a lot more money. An hour's wage more. Why would you choose job B?
Because all of the benefits.
Exactly, right? That's what everybody says. So they set this up with the software kind of puts you on a basic package.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's recommending that we move you to a preferred freedom of choice, and that's basically going to give you some protection against inflation, right? So with that, it would be $12 more per week, or $42 a week instead of $30. Do you want to go with the basic plan, or do you want to go with the recommendation and do a little bit more for your family?
I think I'm just leaving it at the basic for now.
The basic plan. Okay. So, like I said before, we do have to qualify to get these benefits. So I'm gonna have
Qualify?
I'm gonna give you a series of questions, basically to make sure that everything's good here and we can get these set up for you.
Okay.
So, all right. So I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, and they're just gonna be yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been treated for alcohol abuse, including AA, or been a member of AA?
Nope.
Okay. Have you been prescribed anything like, or do you take any drugs that are not prescribed, such as like cocaine or amphetamines,
Nope.
anything like that? Have you ever had your driver's license suspended or revoked, or those
Nope.
type of things? Great. Okay, so all good there.
We're going through it.
Okay. Have you been advised to take tests or done so, received any results, and been diagnosed with having had treatment for high blood pressure, chest pain, heart attack, stroke, or any other blood or circulatory disorders?
Nope.
Have you ever been treated for any of the following conditions: diabetes or any kind of endocrine disorder?
Nope.
Paralysis, epilepsy, mental illness, any other nervous system or brain disorders?
Nope.
to your best of your knowledge, do you have any physical impairment or a departure from good health?
Nope, I'm healthy.
Okay. Have you ever been rejected for life or medical insurance, rated or failed to receive the policy you've applied for?
No.
Have you been insured in the last 5 years?
Have I been insured?
Has any proposed insured in the Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that. Have you in the last 5 years have you had any treatment? Have you had a physical? The way they worded this is really strange. Sorry about that. In the last 5 years, have you had a physical?
Yep.
Any medical treatment whatsoever?
Nope.
Are you a resident in a nursing home? Doesn't look like it. We're here in your house right now, right? Have you ever been treated for any of the following: asthma, emphysema, sleep apnea, or any kind of respiratory disorder?
Nope.
Ulcer, any kind of digestive tract disorders?
Nope.
Psoriasis, hepatitis, or any kind of liver disorder?
Nope.
Anything with the blood?
Nope.
Okay. Kidney, prostate, urinary bladder, or other genital area disorder?
Nope.
Disease of the breast, uterus, or ovaries?
Nope.
Mrs.? All right. Any kind of rheumatoid arthritis or any other musculoskeletal disorders?
Nope.
Okay. Have you ever been diagnosed with HIV or AIDS?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, got those two. Do you smoke?
Nope.
Got that. All right. Well, I'm not an underwriter, but based on this, looks like we should be able to get you approved. This program is set up on a once a month computerized deduction through your banking system. Having it done this way gains you a discounted rate. And your program, let's see, with what you went with, is only $30 a month. Rather, that's $120 a month, $30 a week. Simple math there. And this can be handled anytime between today, the 14th, and the 28th. So, based on your bills, when do you want that draft to come out?
Let's leave it on today.
The 14th.
I thought today's the 18th.
Oh yeah, it is the 18th.
Yeah, we leave it on the 18th.
Okay. And you said no tobacco, right?
Yep.
All right. So we'll have to do this oral specimen. Because this is a member-owned program, and once it's issued, it cannot be taken away by American Income or your employer. There's an application process that we have to start in, so we got these health questions here. Again, because there's no tobacco use, and also because we're over $100,000 of insurance, we're going to need an oral specimen. The enrollment process is going to take anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks. Obviously, with these benefits, you were conditionally covered from the moment that I walk out the door. So the first bank draft usually happens immediately within the first 24 to 48 hours of the application. The first premium is going to be $125. That is $5 more than what it's normally going to be because of the application process. I'm going to need a few things from you: a driver's license, doctor's information, and any meds taken, and a voided check.
All right, cool.
Awesome. All right, so the check should be written for $125.
All right, so here go all of that stuff. You done. Rated risk, solidification.
Mm-hmm. So rated risk. So at some point in everybody's life, they become uninsurable, and this is usually because of their age, their health, or their habits. Okay, and so when you are approved, it's usually one of 3 categories. So the first one is going to be no risk, and this is basically somebody who has little or no health issues, right? So you'll be approved standard. Special risk is basically anybody that's kind of between perfect health and the uninsurable line. And you can think about it like this: the closer you are to the uninsurable line, the more it's going to cost. Okay, it's kind of like car insurance, right? So the more speeding tickets you have, the more the same coverage is going to cost for you versus somebody else. Okay, and then the last one is going to be a counteroffer. So this is for somebody who they probably wouldn't have insured as just kind of a last chance to try to get them some coverage. And so, if this were to come back, maybe a special risk, would the few extra dollars a month be a problem for you?
No, it'll be good.
Great. So if there are any changes, I'll let you know. But good to know that if something did happen, that you'd be covered.
Okay.
Great. So
Yeah.
this is all great. You got all your paperwork.
Yeah, you working out, you solidifying.
I'm walking out. I'm like, Joe and Mary, I'm so glad that you took advantage of this. I'm glad you can see the value, like lots of other people. You really do get a lot for how little it costs. And sometimes it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year later. We do have people cancel, and then we'll see those same people during the next service period 2 to 3 years later, and they're no farther ahead than they were when they canceled, right? And what usually happens is these people try to enroll again, but what they don't realize until that happens is that these policies cost a lot more now because their age has gone up, and even worse yet, some of these people can't get approved because their health has changed. Okay, so it's really important that you keep this policy in place, and if you have any questions, if this dollar amount, this $130 right now, if this doesn't seem comfortable, let's tackle it right now. How do you feel about it?
I don't know, man. Can I just think about it, man? I think I want to.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. And a lot of members feel that way. But like we explained earlier, we basically, they make us, do this today during your enrollment period, just in fairness to everybody else. And typically, our enrollment periods are every 2 to 3 years. So, and like I just mentioned, we don't want to have to do that because then your rates are going up. I don't want you to feel like we're taking food off the table by any means. So if this $40 a month is uncomfortable for you, we can change that. Now I'm sure if this program, if this was free, you'd probably jump at it, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Exactly. So it's not a matter of it being beneficial. I mean, I can see that you want it, and I can absolutely understand that your family needs it. So why don't we do this? Let's take this inflation.
No, that's good. Let's do it. Yeah, let's just
go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
All right, cool. All right.